Hello, my name is Evan Baker, and I'm a student in Cabrini University's Intro to Mass Communications course. Now, in class, we are learning on how to be a good critical consumer of both news and information, as well as how to be a responsible producer of media. Now, for this website project, I am stepping into said role of responsible producer to help educate audiences about the injustices of ethical clothing, also known as ethical fashion. Now, what is ethical fashion? Well, to sum it up, ethical fashion is the whole process of making multiple sets of clothing that are, well, how do I put this? They're made by slaves. Now you're going to ask yourself the same questions I asked myself. They're still slaves? I thought America banned all the slaves. I thought slavery ended with the Civil War. Well, turns out there are millions of slaves still left in the world today. From China to Australia, even London, even here in America, where we abolished slavery. Funny, right? Now, another question you might ask yourself is, why hasn't anybody in the news teams done reports on this? Well, people have. For example, Nicholas Kristof, a very famous news reporter, has done multiple sets of reports on slavery in chocolate, slavery in clothing, and so on and so forth. However, there's one thing keeping the news media at bay, which is money. Sometimes big brand clothing companies will pay off news media companies to actually keep their mouths shut. So that way, the clothing companies get more and more money. So that way, they have a steady income and they get to keep their slaves. So that way, they have more money. And that's the big thing I want people to understand, is money plays a big role in this game. The only thing that's keeping the slaves in check is your purchase. Whenever you buy a cheap item that's usually made by a slave, that money's going into the slaveholder's pocket. And that means he can buy another slave, and another, and another, and another. It's just not right, and we need to take effective action. Pardon my mispronunciation of affection. Now, one thing I have done is I have sent a letter to our governor in Pennsylvania to help promote the awareness of slaves that still exist today. Well, as again I said, there are slaves in both chocolate industry, in the clothing industry, and many others. So we have to take action and be aware of this. Now, one clothing line I would like to look at is the Adam Levine clothing line. You're going to ask yourself, Adam Levine, the singer from Maroon 5? What's he got to do with this? Well, he has a clothing line, and his clothing line is pretty popular. But did you know his clothes are made in China, which is one of the worst places in the world right now for slaves? There are millions of tiny sweatshops all over making cheap clothing just for our consumption. And when we get rid of these clothes, we dump them right back over there to India and to China, where they're just waste and waste, and they're piling up, and people are losing jobs because of it, because there's so many clothes. Yes, you're getting a cool shirt out of it, but you're also might be losing someone who could have changed the world, someone who could have helped, someone who had a chance at life, and now it's just gone because he has to deal with this problem that we created for him. Now, as I've worked on this project, I've come to understand that the media's role in today's society is really big. It's basically society itself, because we go on social media almost every day. Think how many people check their Twitter accounts. Think how many people check their Facebook accounts. It's getting so huge that social media is becoming our daily lifestyle. Actually, it already is. So, one thing that we can do is use social media. If everyone bands together, we can help stop ethical fashion. We can help change the world in what we wear and what we eat and what we purchase. This is Evan Baker saying thank you.